Tonight on Bayou Time, as the showers fall here on the HTV studios, the showers also fell in Baton Rouge as State Senator Butch Gautreaux, through an email to Senate members in the district office, also the Senate staff, House members, and the House full-time staff, launched a letter criticizing Governor Bobby Jindal. We'll have that letter, and we'll have the senator on the phone in a few short minutes. It's all next on Bayou Time.
Deep in the heart of the bayou, we are gathered here tonight. Now it's time for action, 'cause our lives are on the line. Tonight we'll do our very best to break through all the bureaucratic mess. The time has come tonight, 'cause it's Bayou time. Show what Louisiana's all about.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Folse. A lot to talk about tonight, a lot of news. We'll get to that in a second. Let's lead off, if we can, in Baton Rouge. Now, of course, State Senator Butch Gautreaux is termed out, but in one of his last efforts to inform the public, fired off a letter today in Baton Rouge that was addressed, and we'll bring it up on the screen if we can. It was addressed to Senate members, on his chamber laptop, Senate members, district office, Senate staff, House members, and House members of the district office, and the House full-time staff. We're going to show you the letter, and this is it. Subject: goodbye, my good friend Bobby Jindal. I guess I have just had enough of the governor's transparency. My apologies to you if this offends you. I cannot tolerate the injustices to state employees and taxpayers. My best to you in the future, Butch. Now, we're going to have the senator on. I'm going to read the letter first, and I think we have him on the line now. So what I'm going to do, let me just make sure that he is on. Senator, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm going to do, let me read a little of the letter first, and then if you don't mind, I know you wrote it, so you probably heard it already, but just for the audience, I'm going to read a little bit, and that way I can bring them up to speed, and then I'll talk to you about the letter and what spurred on the letter, if you don't mind. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Okay, we're going to go to the letter if we can. I'll read as much. It's a pretty lengthy letter, but Bobby Jindal has been led our state now for approximately 3.5 years, and I think it is time to acknowledge some of the most notable achievements of his first term as governor of the great state of Louisiana. Governor Jindal, our most traveled governor in Louisiana history, has logged well over 1,000 hours in state police helicopters, spending Sundays campaigning in churches mostly in North Louisiana. Additionally, he has logged hundreds of hours in Army National Guard helicopters traveling to the coast after Hurricanes Gustav and Ike and the BP oil spill, in an effort to point out that President Obama wasn't there and that the federal government was doing nothing. And while the state of Louisiana struggles with the national recession having unprecedented employment, Governor Jindal crisscrosses the United States of America, delivering the curious good news of business growth and job creation under his leadership. Of course, all the while, Jindal's pointing out that Washington is out of control and that he is prepared to bring his principles of success in on-hands management to our nation. That is once he is back in Louisiana for a visit. For the wisdom he delivered, millions of dollars were bestowed upon him by his adoring followers for his re-election campaign. Who can forget Governor Jindal's adamant and very public refusal to accept the millions of stimulus dollars from Washington? And who can forget the very generous 6-foot by 2-foot presentation checks delivered to each and every parish of the state from the special checking account of Governor Bobby Jindal, along with the same inspiring speech, except for the insert parish name here part. I know how special I felt as we accepted the checks in the 5 parishes I serve. Some were trying to throw dispersions on those special occasions, saying that the money doled out was federal stimulus money, but we know the governor refused those dollars. Let's not forget the encouragement Governor Jindal has given to our eldest veterans in his campaign travels, pinning the state's veterans during his interrupted out-of-state travel. And of course, encouragement given to the young people of Louisiana. Among those are the ability to pay more for an education in state universities while losing courses of study and outstanding professors almost by the minute. Graduates have much more job opportunities today, out-of-state jobs, that is. And special thanks should be given to Governor Jindal for his attempt to make smoking more affordable. The State Representative Gautreaux goes on. And for special friends of the governor, great business opportunities have been given, adding big dollars to their bottom lines. Notables coming to light during this legislative session alone are the opportunity afforded the Vantage Health to participate in writing the RFP, which is a request for proposal, for an unprecedented awarding of a book of business away from the Office of Group Benefits. In a meeting in Timmy Teeple's office attended by the Commissioner of Administration, the Governor's Chief Counsel, Teeple, and 3 executives from Vantage Health, Executive Director Tommy Teague was given the instructions and language to provide a book of business for Vantage Health. How's that for transparency? Next, we have CNSI, a company headquartered in India, and being the former employer of our newest health and hospital secretary, had the RFP rewritten so that they could be eligible for the $34 million award for handling the Medicare billings and administration. This again done by Administrative Act, bypassing the legislative oversight. We want to point out that those Louisiana jobs will now head to points unknown in a continuing Jindal effort on job growth, just not for Louisiana residents. And now it is my understanding Bobby Jindal will be saving the state of Louisiana $10 million by firing 149 employees at the Office of Group Benefits as soon as I get my butt away from Baton Rouge. Of course, the flip side of this significant savings is that it will cost a likely doubling of the savings account, an additional cost to the state by placing the PPO plan in the hands of some favored private insurance company, as evidenced by the Schaefer report steadfastly kept under the shield of new transparency by Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal. The real and yet unreleased final report is more critical of this deal than the draft we saw. The cost of that deal within the governor's office will be borne by all Louisiana taxpayers. While resolutions from the legislature, Judges Association, the Office of Group Benefits Board of Trustees, and numerous state retiree organizations have been sent to Governor Jindal opposing the placing of OGB in private hands, the governor has seen fit to ignore us. I would be remiss not to sincerely thank the governor for one thing that has stood out this year. It has been a long time since Republicans and Democrats have courageously stood together in an opposition to Bobby Jindal's efforts to denigrate and devalue the contributions of state employees and retirees, along with other administrative efforts not in the best interest of Louisiana. It says, good bless, but I'm sure it meant God bless Louisiana. Oh yeah, I'm available if you need someone on your staff. Joining us now, Senator Butch Gautreaux, and obviously, Senator, a very heated letter. So something triggered it. In your own words, I'll give you some time. What made you write the letter? I guess frustrations have finally reached the boiling point.
That's exactly it. Since a month before the legislative session began, we heard rumors that the governor was going to again sell. You know, of course, he openly said that he was going to sell the state prisons and what else. And one of the things that came out was that he had intentions of selling off the Office of Group Benefits. To explain, the Office of Group Benefits is the health insurance company. I guess it's really not a company, but it's the health insurance agency of Louisiana workers. It operates at really peak efficiency, according to several groups that look at public entities and the way they operate as far as efficiency and cost effectiveness. The Office of Group Benefits has operated, well, it is operating today at an operating cost of 3.5%. It has been improving over the years. It was in bad shape, admittedly, about 7, 8 years ago. And I came on board, I became a member of the Board of Trustees 6 years ago, slightly after Tommy Teague was hired as the new executive director. And Tommy's experience in the health insurance industry allowed us to keep coming up and up and up in efficiency and cost effectiveness to the point where when I got on board, all we got was complaints from policyholders and doctors and hospitals and other healthcare providers because they were not timely payments. People would, let the Office of Group Benefits know that they needed a surgery. The turnaround sometimes was 2 or 3 weeks on emergency surgeries, and it was just in really bad shape, not cost effective. Tommy came in and turned all of that around to the point where today there's only one hospital in Louisiana that does not accept the Office of Group Benefits, and every doctor who refused to accept it in the past now is on board, and they accept that insurance, and it's the rates are competitive, actually a little better than there is in the private sector. The big thing is that it's we get our discounts from the pharmaceuticals, we get our discounts from the healthcare providers, and we have been able to amass. We went from being in the hole $34 million to having a cash reserve of $550 million. And so immediately, as we always, run into trouble here at the state, the governor's office looked at that healthy reserve and decided they wanted to go after it. Well, the problem was that there's a constitutional amendment, thank God, that disallows the use of those funds for anything but the health care of the members. And because it is the members' money that's going in along with that state contribution of 75%.
Let's take it. I've been around doing news for a long time, and I think you would agree. I don't see letters like this that come on one issue. There are several issues that I think you've taken up with the governor. Let's take them one at a time.
The lack of transparency is what the letter is about.
Okay.
And the refusal of the governor to speak to the legislators. I've been around for a little while, and we went through a bad time fiscally when Governor Foster was governor, and we got through that. But I'm gonna tell you, the governor was in the Senate chamber at least 2 or 3 times a week. He gave every senator an opportunity to sit and talk with him because he was making proposals in some cases that were very controversial. We did raise some taxes.
So you're saying this governor doesn't come to the chambers of the meeting, doesn't meet with you all, and he pretty much does what he wants to do.
In 3.5 years, I've never seen his face in the chamber.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, in 3.5 years, I talked to him one time, and that was during the transition when I was telling him about the unfunded accrued liability that we were faced with and that we had to address, the debt that we have in the retirement systems. And he didn't answer me. He just sat there, and then he got out of his chair and said, "Thank you for coming by."
All right. So you've tried, Senator. You've tried to sit down with the governor. When's the last time that y'all have talked?
We've met on the LSU campus during the transition.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then I have tried.
Okay.
And I'm responsible for the more money than any other committee, including the Appropriations and the Finance Committee.
Okay.
$18 billion. And I've been working on efficiencies and things that I have required of the retirement systems some pretty tough measures, including increasing the retirement age, increasing contributions, increasing the time that you become vested. A lot of things that I've done in one piece of legislation last year, saving the state of Louisiana over $500 million.
Now,
I could not get into the governor's office to talk about that to ensure that it was not going to be vetoed because it was not popular with everybody.
Right.
It was a tough thing to deal with.
He's fairly popular guy. You know that. You still sent the letter. But let's be fair to you. You pointed out several things that you took issue with, and let's real quickly go through them. Travel, helicopters, etc. That was one of your lead-offs. Obviously, that's under your skin.
It is, because it's expensive. Bobby Jindal goes to church up North Louisiana every Sunday. Okay, I think the tab on that is around, I've been told, around $25,000 to make that trip. That $25,000 could go to pay a school teacher's salary. It doesn't make sense. And we know what it's all about. I mean, it's campaigning, that he goes up there and he tells this little story that you've heard probably several times. And it's not on state business, but he's got to be up there with the pilot, the co-pilot, a couple of bodyguards, and so when you add it all up,
that's $25,000 a trip.
$30,000
a trip
per trip.
Per trip, okay.
Per trip.
And he goes to church each week in North Louisiana.
Right. And when we've asked, and the press has asked, where are you going to church? We can't tell you because of security reasons. Well, I can tell you that when Kathleen Blanco was governor, she went to Mass at St. Joseph Cathedral on 4th Street every Sunday at 11 o'clock Mass. Everybody knew it. And I don't think her life was in danger. I don't think anybody ever... I don't think she was concerned or anyone else was concerned for her safety. It's just an excuse to have that lack of transparency and to be able to go off and spend, $25,000, $30,000 per weekend traveling on, I think, campaign business.
All right, then you go into the veterans program and talk about that.
The veterans were very appreciative of the medals, but it was one of those things that he would fit into his schedule because he wanted to be the one that's doing it, so that he could touch and say hello to each one of those voters. And again, I think it's campaigning, and he's doing this when Louisiana's got serious fiscal problems. And instead of dealing with the budget and other issues that are paramount, he's off doing that. And I can tell you in one case when I'm in Senate Joint Budget Committee, and it's really heated. I mean, there's a big argument going on between, how much is K through 12 going to get cut, and how many teachers are going to lose their jobs, of which there were a lot. In Terrebonne Parish, I think it was we lost probably 40 teaching positions, and we're going through all this, and somebody asked a question. Well, can we get Governor Jindal down here to talk to us about this? He's upstairs having a press conference about some child molestation law that he's going to be pushing during the legislative session. Well, look, I don't know anybody that likes child molesters, but that's, the attention he was given was to his campaign, and certainly that is an important issue, but he should have been participating in the budget, and he just would not do that.
If I'm hearing you right, and I'm not trying to talk against the governor because I want to talk to him about this too, but if he's a meat and potatoes guy, he's just interested in the meat, he's throwing out the potatoes, so to speak. You don't think he meets well with you all. He's looking for the press conferences and all to carry his agenda a little forward. Is that what I'm hearing?
He was on TV last night. I watched him on Channel 9 talking about that, that we had finally gotten this budget out, that was fair and honest and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't his budget. I mean, he brought us a budget that was totally off the wall. and it was because there was no time spent on it.
Okay. Let's talk about one of the biggest parts of the letter that I saw, and I'm sort of reading into it, was the CNSI part. Talk about that a little bit, because that was interesting to me.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this was like a 3.5-hour dragged out hearing in Senate and Governmental Affairs, asking the new Secretary of Health and Hospitals about this supposed deal that was made, and to the members of the committee. I'm not a member of the committee, but I went and sat down and listened. We're asking, is there a deal? Who is the deal with? And the governor's executive counsel and Mr. Greenstein, the new Health and Hospitals Secretary, along with a couple other people from the governor's staff, repeatedly kept answering Senator Kostelka, the chairman of the committee. This is work product. This is confidential. You know, and well, is there a deal made? And it was like pleading the fifth over and over and over again. Well, finally, Senator Kostelka, the former judge, blew up, and he says, well, we're not confirming any of you people because we can't get an honest answer out of any of you. And so he was going to let him just go, but with the threat of subpoena. Well, they asked if they could leave for about 15 minutes, and they went in the next room, got on the phone with Timmy Tebow and the governor, and came back and sheepishly admitted that the contract is going to this company, CSNI, and we know nothing about this. Okay, $34 million contract. Mm-hmm. It turns out that this is the former employer of the new Secretary of Health and Hospitals, just hired, by the way. Okay. And he had been involved in the negotiations, or in the, I guess you could call them negotiations, in putting together the RFP to award the contract. And of course, the company that he worked for did not fit the criteria. So what they did is they amended it so that they could award the contract to CSNI. This is so unethical. It just.
Well, let me ask you something. Not to demean my
state. There's not a senator. Yeah. I'm talking about liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, black, white, purple, that's not really, really upset about it.
Yeah, and that's what my point is, not to demean my own station. Why are we breaking this story? Have I missed something? Has this been in New Orleans media and Baton Rouge media? Has any of this ever hit? And if not, why?
Well, you know, to answer my question, it was not in the Times-Picayune. The Times-Picayune, if you look at it, you don't even know that we're in legislative session. I get both papers.
Okay.
The Morning Advocate, or the Advocate, has had 3 articles about this. And my question has been, where are the citizens of Louisiana? Why are the citizens of Louisiana upset about all this? I mean, both stories came out just over the past couple of weeks, CSNI and also the Vantage Healthcare. Vantage Healthcare, in Timmy Tebow's office, if you don't know who that is, he is the governor's chief of staff.
Right.
And Stephen Waggettsback, who is his counsel.
Yes.
The commissioner of administration at the time, Marshall Davis, 3 executives from Vantage Healthcare, Timmy Tebow, and Tommy Teague, who is the executive director at the time of Officer Group Benefits. Tommy's called in. He comes to this room with these people in the room and is instructed to craft an RFP that fits them. And Timmy Tebow makes no bones about it. He tells Tommy Teague, we want to give this business to Vantage Healthcare. And when Tommy said, well, that's not the way we should be doing this, he was told, like so many people I understand are being told, you do it like I tell you to do it, and it means that you lose your job if you don't.
How should it have been done, Senator? It's bid out on a normal basis?
Well, the administration had every right in the world to sit down and do an RFP, put together an RFP if they wanted to sell off that part of the business. But you don't bring in the chosen company, the one that you want to award the business to craft it. It didn't fit anybody else, is what I'm told. There were no other bidders.
So what got under your skin is the fact that the governor has campaigned and really preached about transparency, but it's back to old politics, in your words, on the letter.
It's the worst I've seen. The worst abuses of power I've ever seen. And it's scary. I'm leaving. Tomorrow is my last day of the legislative session, my last legislative session. And in January I'll leave office. But I'm telling you, I am really afraid of what Louisiana's going to be facing. And me as a citizen of Louisiana. I've never seen such a thing. I mean, it's just incredible. And, Timmy Tebow made the remark one day, this was a couple of years ago, when there was talk about something they were pushing, and said, well, I don't know if you're going to get the legislators to go along with this. And Timmy said, I don't have to worry about the legislators. We've got the people of Louisiana on our side. And that's been the attitude. So I think that they just feel like they can just do whatever they want to do, like they own Louisiana. And I can tell you that there's not too many people that will speak up, especially people that are employed by the state of Louisiana, because they fear what happened to Tommy Teague will happen to them. Tom Aswell is another example. He was with the Office of Risk Management and spoke up about some of the improprieties that were going on. Well, he was fired. Like a 30-some-odd-year employee, fired because he spoke up. Tommy Teague objected to what was going on. What I was told as a member of the Board of Trustees is Tommy's not a team player. Well, Tommy couldn't play on that team. And so they replaced Tommy Teague with Scott Kipper, who was the Deputy Secretary Department of Insurance, fine young man in his early 50s. And Scott Kipper was there for 3 weeks when it was announced that Scott Kipper has resigned effective June 23rd. So I saw Scott. We had a meeting last week, a Board of Trustees meeting, and I was shocked to find out that Scott was going to be there. So I went an hour early and visited with him and said, Scott, tell me what the hell's going on. Excuse me, I can't say that on the air. I said, well, tell me what's going on. And he just shook his head. He looked down at his desk. And I said, are you having a problem adapting? And he says, look, I've been working for the state. I've worked for the Department of Insurance. I can't do this. And what it was is that he had a moral and ethical dilemma. Because he was being asked to go along with all this stuff, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And so, again, a man that's, a career employee voluntarily resigns rather than have to do things that he felt very uncomfortable with.
Well, let me ask you this.
Things that might send him to jail.
You're supposed to be riding out into the sunset. You're termed out as a senator. And the governor would probably tell me, well, why did he wait till the last 2 days? But you're supposed to be riding off into the sunset in the last couple of days. I guess it frustrated you so much that you had to get it off your chest.
There because if you check with the area delegation,
okay,
they'll tell you that I have been releasing this stuff for 2 months.
Okay, well, that was my question.
2 months. Okay. As I would get the information and then verify it, because I did not want to misspeak, make an error in anything that I said. after I verified the facts, I released it, and I've been releasing it to the media,
Right.
And to every member of the legislature and the staff at the Capitol, so that those people could come back to me if there was additional information, and that's what happened.
Are you getting anybody? Is anybody? I mean, are you getting any support on this, or do you feel like, because he is a popular guy?
I have gotten so much support, it is absolutely incredible.
Okay.
But people are coming to me with information, telling me, please, Butch, don't, Senator Gautreaux, please don't let anybody know where you got it from, because I can't afford to go home. I can't afford. I've got my family to support. I just can't afford to leave my employment, and that, and with the full knowledge that employees that speak up get fired, they just can't do that, and so I've had to be their spokesperson. But I can tell you that I'm probably the most popular senator or legislator at the Capitol today, as far as employees are concerned, for speaking up on their behalf.
Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us for a long period of time. It is a long letter, but you made several points, and I'm sure a lot of Republicans will disagree with you, but that's their right. But we appreciate you joining us and telling us your side of the story, and also thank you for serving us as a senator.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that this is not Republican, Democrat. It's about people who love Louisiana,
okay,
and don't want to see this corruption continue.
Well, we appreciate you joining us on the phone, and and we shared the letter with the public, and thank you so much for being on Bayou Time.
Appreciate you calling me.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Once again, Senator Butch Gautreaux, and of course, you may disagree with his letter. You may agree with his letter. That's what the program is all about. You have a choice, and certainly some scathing comments made, and very to the point about certain issues that he feels are not good for Louisiana. He said, "This is the worst he's ever seen." That was the quote that I got out of that conversation. So we're going to open up the phone lines, 879-1231. Tell us what you think about it. It's all next. Don't go away.